I apologize. We called the meeting to order and I did a roll call at 2:02 and I welcomed everybody.
We did the Pledge of Allegiance.
We did everything. But now we're officially kicking it off. And I'm sorry, Antonia, I literally was just, I was inviting you to address item number 4 on our agenda to hear, discuss, and review think tank date, agenda, attendees, and timeline for future meetings. Sorry for everybody in the room. I'm going to repeat myself. We're very excited about this. I have been working nonstop, Nicole and I both have, to try to secure all the attendees. I have an email ready to go. I'm just waiting on a couple of email addresses still. But we've got a really good lineup, over 20 individual email addresses. And Mimi has found 2 4th graders and their moms who are willing to participate. I was just hoping you could kind of give us like a broad overview. I mean, I know I have the flyer here, but could you just kind of walk us through what to expect on that date?
Check with her if she did want students present for that. Like, I don't know.
Oh, she did.
She did? Okay.
I talked to her about it.
Okay, cool.
She just grayed out their contact info so that I did.
Oh, that's why. Now that makes sense. I was taking that as not the students yet. My
And
bad.
I'm actually building that list, but keeping it private just to the superintendent, principal, board of ed chair, and myself. So when I send out the email, it'll be BCC'd, Nicole's email address, and mine will be the only ones present, just so people know.
Perfect. That all sounds great. And thank you so much for all of your efforts in getting it together. We are also very excited. Think tanks are one of our favorite things to do. So we are overjoyed that this is coming to fruition in the next week or so. And grateful for all the flexibility on the educational side. Also to free up their schedules. If it's okay with we can start with the flyer, and then we do have just a brief presentation with a couple of slides that might give you more of a flair for different types of activities and the specific activities that we're envisioning for your session. But the think tank, as you see on the flyer, is a very creative, a very dynamic workshop where we gather educators, district leaders, parents, students, board members, all together in one space early on in the project to have a visioning and big picture thinking event. And for Fairfield in particular, we're hoping that this event will co-create the vision, story, and guiding principles for the new pre-K to 5 Dwight Elementary School. And the activities that we're proposing will help us get to the heart of what the vision and story is for the district of Fairfield. And it's happening on Thursday, the 28th in the morning from 10 to 11:30, as long as that still flies with the educators and their schedules. I think that was what we had earmarked for this event. And if it's okay, if I take the screen,
Yep.
Any questions before I screen share?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. Let me go into presentation mode first, I think, and then share. Apologies. Okay. If I share my screen, is everyone seeing a full PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. And so we already went over what a think tank is, but it's this big picture event. It's a lot of fun. You see here the types of activities and energy that comes out of these different events. It's a very collaborative session, and I know we might have some conversation about what a hybrid situation could look like, but we just in the past, they've been all in-person events, and that's been really helpful for the types of engagement and activities that we do. But we can certainly think creatively if there wants to be a digital component. As we talked about, it will be in the morning on the 28th, and it's really by invite only. So there is a curated list of participants. However, we're planning to take photos and create a summary of this event so that it can be shared more broadly after the fact. The agenda for the think tank, we typically start with some introductions, a brief overview presentation of about 15 minutes, and this really helps to set the table for all the attendees in the room to understand a little bit about the why behind the project, the work to date, and any, forward-looking schedule items, just so that they kind of have a where we've been, a where we are, and a where we're going before we break out into the activities. We'll do two activities. Those take up the majority of the time, and then we'll leave some time at the end for open discussion. And we wanted to just walk you through our whole catalog of activities to date. We can certainly customize the ones that we've selected if you see some as we go through these that you think would be a better fit for Fairfield. But some events that we've done in the past are Scatter and Gather. And this is really intended to help create that vision statement for the project itself. We've done Mirror Mirror, which anyone who's played that game where you draw a part of the monster and you fold it and pass it to the person next to you and they draw the next part and then you reveal it at the end. That's a little bit what Mirror Mirror is, except with words to describe your culture, the innovation that you'd like to see, or any educational pedagogy that you would like in the school. Storyboard is centered around your aesthetic, your vision. We often tie this to your landscape and your community context, your history. So we'll have imagery, and we invite participants to bring their own imagery to these events, and we create these collages. We talk about what's common. We talk about why we've connected certain things, and how that's central to the story. And what that does is it helps us formulate an early aesthetic. We can also do this digitally, using artificial intelligence and Mentimeter. We can help to gauge what folks are thinking of when they say a word like woods and trails, for example, came up in one of our other communities. So when we describe that theme, what does that mean to you versus somebody else? AI can help us refine what that aesthetic is. We also have a game called Constellations, which gets at the heart of the student experience by grade level. How Might We is the implementation of that student experience. Goldilocks puts everything all together in terms of a charter. So it goes from implementation to that guidebook, really, for the project moving forward. Alchemy is about creative placemaking. So you can see some really fun Petri dish analogies that come out of alchemy. This is big with the science teachers. So this helps us understand, for example, in art, what spaces would you like around art in order to make it really the program that Fairfield wants to see for the next 50 years? How can we think beyond what's in front of us? How can we think creatively about educational programming, and create the ideal neighbors for art to really flourish? The big cheese is just a prioritization exercise, and so is Hippo Penguin Cat. And these help us understand some likes, some dislikes, and some wishes, or some unique elements that we might not have already thought of. So for Fairfield in particular, we were thinking about the importance.
Antonia, do you mind if I
Yes,
just jump in here real quick?
jump in,
This is
Justin.
Justin. We're not doing all of these. This
Right.
is
I didn't think so. This was sort of more like a
Okay.
selection, right?
Yes.
This is more of a
Yeah.
menu. Yes. So go
And
ahead.
there's-
Sorry, Antonia.
I know, I appreciate it, and I love the broad overview. Antonia, I'm going to let you continue, but I'm thinking for this first one, the storyboard, like you've got on the slide, sounds like a really great starting place. And then I'm guessing we're going to have more than one think tank, and we can maybe get into others.
That is so true. Yeah. That's a great thought, and I'm glad that we were aligned there, because we also we picked the three that you see on the right hand side, and we think that we can combine Scatter and Gather and How Might We into activity number 2. So we thought that for this first think tank, we could talk about aesthetic, story, and theme using Storyboard. And then we could start to dig into vision and guiding principles using Scatter, Gather, and How Might We. Those can dovetail pretty well. So if that sounds like a good plan, and certainly you can, this is the first time you're seeing this, so if you want to digest it a little bit and follow up with us, you can certainly take some time to think if these are the right fit. But this is the direction that we were going to head for the think tank. And like you said, Lauren, there can be certainly other opportunities to go into greater detail or use some different activities as we move through the design phase.
No, I like this.
And
Nicole's
you're
got a
going to be
question.
bringing, for storyboards, you're going to be bringing all different ones, or are we going to encourage other people to bring in just like inspo photos?
It really works well when they bring inspo photos. So as much as we can encourage that, that would be amazing because we can bring some of our own, but we really want the vision to start from the teachers and educators themselves in the room. So if they have things they're really passionate about, they can bring those to the table, and then that also just opens the doors wider than what we would bring.
Yeah.
Would be the same for everyone. So it's nice that, yeah, folks can bring their own inspiration.
I'm glad I did not send out my email because now I'm going to adjust it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, like the email, should we be putting all that in there?
Yes, I have like a very broad general email that has your flyer attached to it, and just kind of invites them to, sorry, I'm going to real quick close out, to join us, and that this is a small group, right, by selection only.
I have an old PDF that I can send you when we find it. That'll kind of help people, because like this is why I was asking the same question, Tonya, for people who have never done especially a storyboard like that before.
Yeah.
An inspiration photo doesn't need to just be like, this is the picture of an outside of a school, this is a picture of a classroom. Like they can incorporate anything that like makes them, that they like, that gives them the feeling of like the environment they'd like to set. So like they could bring a beautiful picture of the woods with the sky. Yeah. And that kind of represents that, like obviously this person wants to have, what's that word that I'm learning? Biophilic classroom.
Yes.
It's not just about bringing in photos of your perfect classroom exactly how you want it designed. It's about the feelings you have, the way you envision your entire lifestyle within the school. So you just don't want them to think that they bring in just pictures of other schools. That's all.
I'm going to have you help me write something in a sentence or two that will incorporate all of that. But the ask is, not only do you show up on the 28th, but you show up with something to share. A couple of pieces, if not more. Okay, I love that.
That'd be great.
I think that's great. So my question for you then next is, how many of these are we doing over the course of what time period? Like, I mean, how, I know we wanted to do this before the end of the school year. I'm anticipating it's going to be tricky to try to get people together over the summer. But if we need to, we could try. When would the next think tank be? I kind of want to give people a heads up.
Sure. We typically will do two. So we'll do this early visioning think tank, and then we can do a second as we get to the end of design development, which will be in the fall once people come back from school. We can host a second think tank, and that is where we can start to show a little bit more about how the design really is coming together, reflecting their feedback from this first think tank. So before we get into construction documents, but while we're still in the design phase, we have an opportunity to show back to them the feedback that they've given us and how it's really informed the design.
Very cool. Okay, I'm going to ask for one last, just because I like to gather as much information as possible before I do something. I'm quite confident that my email is basic and simplified enough, but do you have examples of what other schools have done for their first think tank, like an email invitation that I could just kind of draw inspiration from to make sure that I'm like communicating this effectively? I really want people to be excited as we are about it, and you are. But I want to be sure that I get people to show up because it's a week away, or a little bit more. And I know that they've already been talked to either by our superintendent or by our principal, so hopefully they understand that like their participation is key for us, but just so we don't have like 10 people show up with no idea what's going on. Could you?
Yes, we can send you some examples. Absolutely, not a problem.
Great. Okay. Anybody have any other questions about this? It's pretty cool.
The location is because just schedule it?
RMS is the only place that we could find that could accommodate anywhere from 15 to 30 people.
And was air conditioned.
And was air conditioned.
And available. There's not enough, especially with it being at 10 a.m. We wanted Dwight, but there's not really a good space at Dwight. Hence the reason for the new build.
We sat down through a PTA meeting Nicole and I did for about 2 hours yesterday in a steamy art room.
on stools.
Stools.
My back felt phenomenal after. Yeah, but with 10, there's an early lunch even in the cafeteria room, which I forget what you guys call it, because I cafetorium. They start eating lunch at 10:30.
I was wrong. That's actually our LMS that starts at 10:30. So
Oh,
I'm
whatever.
totally wrong. But
anyway.
our LMS it's their. I had to call central office. Everything was booked.
I assumed that, but that just.
Yeah.
I would have preferred at Dwight. It made the most sense, but
It's where we have our PTA meetings at our LMS. Actually, it's the Teams room. It's great. Collaborative space, nice, bright, open.
I've got one too. You mentioned we're going to be sharing all of this kind of stuff, and I'm super excited about because one thing I'm trying to make sure I take off of Lauren's plate is communication to the parents and the community at large. Do you guys set up like a temporary website at all for this particular project, or are you just going to be going through the Dwight Building Committee? I noticed at the bottom you have like the fairfield.gov, the Dwight Building Committee website. Is that what we're going to be using the entire time, or is there like is this something you normally do? Is like a temporary website for the project itself?
We don't typically set those up, but we have seen them. I think if there's what we most often see is either the utilization of the existing school building committee website or another tab customized on the district page for the project itself.
I'm just picturing.
Let's talk
we'll
to the superintendent and his office because he has a communications director and she may love this idea, want to broadcast it out like, hey, we've had our first, because it's a big deal. It's the first new school in over 20 years. They may want to grab it and post it somewhere. And then if we can add that.
The reason I bring it up is like I was updating the Google Doc that we have at the moment, which is obviously very like rudimentary. And I'm thinking like, okay, you're constantly reading through. That's not going to work. I was like, oh, how can I get this calendar up on it? I have to go through Jan. And it's like, is there a way that I can just run a Squarespace? Like, we run it, has nothing to do with the town. It's run by Nicole. They can't be held accountable, but I can update it as we go.
I see Jeff shaking head. I think it's not a good idea.
Because you're representing the town, and
Okay.
they're going to have cybersecurity guidelines and whatnot that you're going to have to.
Yeah. My thing is,
I appreciate it.
I always try and
That's why
cut
I
out
was
a middleman
suggesting-
between me and
I know.
something
That's
else.
why I was suggesting going through the comms person at central office because I think they'll have a good idea of how to
You may
communicate.
be able to just
Things like
hand
this.
her HTML or whatever.
Yeah, like right now, I was just going to take the most current sketch. Like one of the biggest questions, obviously, I think a lot of people in the public, I know I would want to see this, seeing the project timeline as it currently lays, added as one, but yeah, it's also hard sometimes to like.
Parents do, I mean, I think everybody, except for me, I'm not on social media, everybody digests information through social media. We have a very active social media site through the Dwight PTA. It's helpful for communicating things like this. I would love if the central office approved it, if we could then grab it and send it out through ours. But we have to be careful since.
Okay. I'll talk to them about it. I just want to find a better way for like questions to be answered and sometimes just like its own
for
actual
the
website
PTA.
that's like, here's because I'm like, as I'm doing this, I'm already seeing like, I'm going to be answering the same questions over and over as we get to like question 210, but that question's really been asked 6 times. And there's only so many times I could be like, can you please refer back to 7 without sounding like a giant witch?
No,
And I don't want that to be the vibe. So I was like, if we could do
need to
something a little
sidebar,
easier than that.
I agree, and we'll think about how we can communicate.
We've got time to plan that. But I was just asking because I wasn't sure if that was something you guys are like, yeah, we always do that. And I was going to be like, yay.
Yeah, no, we certainly supply any graphics and information, all of our presentations for posting, and we can also send you probably some examples of other communities and their websites because we've definitely seen frequently asked questions pages or different ways where you can engage with components of schedule and questioning and
Like I'm answering questions
calculators, all
very
that.
pleasantly at the moment because this is new and fun and exciting, but I could see when I'm asked the 50th time, what's the timeline, where I'm like, let's click on this link and go to that. Because when you do it on our town website right now, it's just a lot of like finding the building committee, then click some forms, then drop down here, and then it's just a
I
lot
hear
where
what you're
it's.
saying. There should be like an easy clickable, here's the timeline.
Yeah,
here's the
just
budget,
like, and
here's
yeah,
where we are.
maybe it could become a tab on the Dwight School page. Maybe they will allow that because they allow somebody to run the Dwight School page. We can add a tab in there.
Between the project website on the
Okay.
town.
New business to be agendized
Okay.
later.
Just real quick, guys, I'm sorry, just a little bit of housekeeping since we weren't officially, Jan couldn't hear us in the beginning at the table. Lauren Efren, Nicole Olson, Jeff Galdenzi, online committee members. I have Peggy Macalusa and Dina Plizzo. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just wanted to cover that so that she knew who was here. Okay.
Can I
Yes.
interject one other question, Lauren?
Sure.
We saw on your school building committee page a form where you could contact the committee, but is there by chance an email for the school building committee? We've often seen that as something that we can quick and easy put on the flyer in terms of contacting via email, or is it the
For
preferences?
questions, we've been doing my email. Like if somebody has a
Well, that's
question.
questions for, whoa. Don't throw yourself out there.
Oh.
For questions from the PTA, yes, but if I go to it, files and contact the committee, you're right. There is like a form that they have to go through, and I've actually done this myself when I've wanted to contact other committees in the past. This is the way that the town prefers to do it.
Sure.
So actually, the person remains anonymous if they choose. So I just remember at one point, this was maybe a couple of years ago, I wanted to contact the Board of Finance. I had just a regular like BOF at Fairfield or something like that. And then they changed over to this new system, I guess to protect the sender, right? If you just had a question that you wanted to ask.
Well, it's also
you give
following
me
Robert's rules more.
Right, it's following Robert's rules, and they could not reply back to you that way, right? So you didn't get like in a back and forth with individual members. So I hate to say it, but this is the way to do it.
No problem. This works great. We can keep this on there in terms of contact. That works for us.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
That makes sense.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? These are all good. I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm really excited for the think tank. I want to get everybody excited about it. Nicole and I will work on something to do with the inspo photos. So like
I'll word it better, but I just want to make sure that we get the point across that like you don't need to go online and just bring in pictures of schools.
Yeah.
It's actually better when you bring in kind of more abstract photos of your thought process and the feeling.
So cool.
It's my favorite part about the psychology of interior design.
And maybe we can make sure that we mention to them that these are photos that aren't precious to them because we might be
Keeping them.
pinning them and yeah.
Okay.
Copies, printouts.
Gluing them.
Yeah, right. Somebody cut up grandma.
Right, so, yeah, someone might come in with like an old school Dwight photo, right? Okay. All right, I'm going to move to agenda item number 5, approval of the Colliers invoice 000117411. I attached it as a backup. Does anybody from the committee have any questions? No. Okay, I need a motion to approve that invoice. Nicole,
Motion to approve.
can I have a
I'll
second?
second.
Thanks, Dina. Can all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, passes unanimously. Can I move on? Sorry, not can I move on? To number 6, to hear, discuss, and review the update of the new state reimbursement rate for the Dwight School project. I'm going to hand the floor over to Mark Schweitzer of Colliers, who has very thoughtfully put together a slide presentation that we will be presenting to the Board of Finance tonight at 7 p.m. If anyone is interested in joining from the audience from the committee, it's at 501 Kings Highway East on the 2nd floor. I, myself, and Nicole will be at the table with Mark, but I welcome your support. But I think it's really important for all of us, I'll just say this, to make sure that as we're talking to the community about this tremendous achievement, for the town of Fairfield, that we're all aligned in our talking points and how we're communicating it, because I think there's a little bit of confusion as to how we got here, what it means, and we're going to try to walk everybody through it tonight. But
And the actual amount we're approved of as of the moment.
Correct.
Correct.
So Mark, without further ado.
Okay. Now, this is all, I believe, 2 weeks ago, the legislation got approved. It has not been signed by the governor, to my knowledge, as of last Friday, so this, it's still up in the air. But this has to do with the reimbursement rate for Dwight, and it's typically, or yeah, if this was to be a new build with the regular rates that it has been for the last 15, 20 years, it would have been, the reimbursement rates come out on a yearly basis, and they normally give you a higher percentage of reimbursement for renovation, and typically around 10 points less for a new build. So with this legislation, it is 75%, which is 60% plus the 15% ECC bump or adjustment already included. So that is what the reimbursement rate is right now. But OGA, or the Connecticut General Statutes, has a space standard for the number of students that are in your building. They give you a maximum square footage that you're allowed to build to without taking a penalty. Based on the ed specs, the 56,115 square feet in the ed spec, which is program area, we've got in the space standard is on the gross now. This changed in March, where it was, instead of just the inside face of the walls, it now went to the gross, where it is now, they're counting the exterior walls as well. So that it's all on the gross area. So taking the program area from the ed specs, multiplying the 1.45 core factor, and coming up with the 81,367 square feet. This would have been, prior to March 12th, this would have been the square footage that would be applied to the space standard. With the new standard, we're taking the 5% of the exterior walls additional, moving it up to 85,435. We have, as part of the space standard, the OGA was finally kind enough to give us basically a form worksheet.
To you.
It's on the website.
It's
so
for everyone, okay.
Yeah, for everyone. So we had our own, but it's codified on this, so we're using their form. Based on the 392 students in grades basically K through 5, I know it's pre-K, but with the ECC, they move them into kindergarten. The allowable square footage is for kindergarten. We're coming up with 49,131 allowable square foot. So
that's less the ECC, you're saying?
no, that is with the ECC.
That is with the ECC, so pre-K.
6,000.
That's the program area of all the spaces for basically the 1,000 square feet for, 4 kindergartens, not counting the, so you multiply all that area for basically the classrooms, the offices, the gym, everything, but it does not account for the corridors or the stairways.
What is okay. Just so I understand, especially for things. I thought I had a good grip on this until that 49,000 number that I've never seen before today in my life just popped up. The ed spec calls for the 392 students, 56,000 square foot building.
Yes.
But does that include gray space? And I understood gray space to be hallways, walls, mechanicals, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Not the exterior walls, but
And
yeah.
and at the time, not the exterior walls. That was an additional 5%, which got you guys to the 85,000 versus the 81,000 that Sfigal's had. What's the 49,000 then?
That's the allowable square footage that the state says 392 students
Can have.
should
Can
have.
have. Okay,
Should.
gotcha. So the state is saying, we actually think it's a little less than what the ed spec is calling for. Even though the state set the ed spec, correct?
Yep.
Who set the ed spec?
The Board of Ed.
The town. sets
Oh,
the-
gotcha. So this is almost like the 49,000 is almost the math from the state end, that
Correct.
they're like, our ed spec would have been this, your ed spec is reading that.
And they do it based on the number of students, not like how many classrooms
Oh,
or
yeah.
how many specials or.
Totally, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Feds can set a law, state can make it better. State can set a law, town can make it safer. Anything can become safer, it just can't become less safe. Working its way down the street. So that makes sense in my brain now.
Okay.
Okay.
So based on the square footage, the allowable to the actual square footage, there's a adjustment factor of 57.5%. So that 75% now comes with a reduction factor of 57.5. There, we have already talked about it. The project's going to go for a space standard waiver, which basically says this reduction factor goes away and it's
gonna be
zero,
based on the project as a
0,
whole.
1, however you want to think about it. So we did the calculations. We did district share, which is basically what towns are interested in. So 76,398, 168 is the total project budget. We have taken off 5% for ineligibles, and they can range from site off, work off site to just anything that the state deems ineligible. It's a conservative number. It's the difference between writing a check on April 15th and getting money back on April 15th. If you're conservative and you say there's ineligibles, you're never going to over receive money on reimbursement and have to give a check back. So the estimated eligible costs, what we're saying is 72,578, 260. This calculation is under the initial or the original reimbursement rate of 32.08. We take the reduction of the 57.5.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but they had, and this for Gauls, just because I know we're going to be asked about
Yep.
it, they had 32.5, not 32.08
Okay.
as a projected,
According to the state, the
in
new
the anticipated reimbursement.
a new building for
I think the 32.8 is what it would be
26.
now because it changed in March. So Fagals based it on when they did their
No.
feasibility,
the rates change, the reimbursement rates change on an annual basis.
That's fine, you can explain that to them, I just want to be clear because they may,
Yep.
one of them may have this.
It's
You caught
1708.
it, somebody else is gonna catch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
So the reduced reimbursement rate is 18.45. So the state's reimbursing 13 million. District share is basically 63 million under the original. With the new legislation, this all remains the same. We have the 75% reimbursement rate. We reduce it per the form that I just showed you. The new rate is 43. State reimbursement is 31, up from the 13 prior. And the district share is now 45 million
Versus 63.
versus 63.
Okay, again, and I'm only saying this because they're going to be only looking at what they had before them
Yep.
previously. They had estimated municipal cost at 60 million. So now we're telling them that with the new 32.08%, that it would have been 63 million, not 60, because they're gonna go with the 60.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want us to all be aware.
Well, this is the reimbursement rate.
But that's as simple as explaining it away as Svagals did what they did with the numbers in hand at that moment, and the numbers are consistently changing. Mark is showing you the realistic numbers of what the Svagals report would have been had they presented it to us today.
I 100% agree. I just want us to
Yeah.
all be aware that
They might not have taken off the ineligible cost either.
We got this.
I know we do.
They probably did not take off the ineligible cost of the 3.8
And
million.
I don't believe they did that.
Well, they had the base reimbursement rate as 15 million, and then they added the 15% for CLC 339, whatever it was, and change, right? And that's how,
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
We
I know.
don't want
need
to
go back
answer
and
to
forth.
Seagal's.
I don't want to answer to it at all. I have nothing to do with it. I wasn't allowed to be anywhere near it, and I had to wait
So we
patiently
don't-
like the
we
rest
don't-
of the town
I think
until September. So
you guys are saying the same thing, but I don't know how to say it. I don't want this to come off wrong. You're headed down the wrong road. Stop explaining what Svigals did. We're not Svigals.
Yep.
If they ask, well, but Svigals said, say, well, then you're going to have to bring Svigals back to the table
or Eli.
or somebody to explain it, because we are not going to pretend to know
Yes.
what they were thinking when they did it. We know that these are our answers based on today's numbers, and that's all we can speak to.
That's fine. Does everybody else understand? Now that you've laid it out like this, is a little bit different than what you had sent Nicole and I before. I'm just trying to process.
We have the right to remain silent.
We do. But I'm gonna let you lead. Just want you to know
So-
that
The
there's.
less we say about Svigals, the better.
The
It's not our
better.
place to make conjectures on their behalf.
And then basically with,
So you're gonna update this.
no, that's actually what we're going to present. I'm just going through the reimbursement numbers.
Okay. You don't think this would be helpful to add to it?
Nope.
Okay,
This is getting too deep in the weeds.
fine. Less weeds, better. Okay.
So, and this is just showing if we do get the space standard waiver, the full 75%, the district share goes down to 21 versus the 45 million.
Hallelujah. All right, let's hope for that. Let's not dangle that in front of them because,
I have a question.
yeah.
Well, we're dangling it in front.
I have a question about that last one
Yep.
and truth behind it as far as the state is concerned.
Yeah.
There must be, with the state being the state, caps. Like, let's say we go ahead and build a 100,000 square foot building. Or do we get the space waiver once we've decided final design?
I think the
Well,
space waiver
that's-
has to.
That's a good point. I mean, this is.
Yeah, we can't just go
all
building a
spec-
ginormous building and then expect to still get the full 75% when they're telling us we're already oversizing our classrooms based on what we're seeing.
Well, this is speculation to begin with because the square footage is,
All imaginary.
well, it's not imaginary. I mean, it's based on program area, but is it 85? Is it 80? It's
Yeah, exactly.
still-
So we go for the space waiver after the final design is decided,
Once
or
we
does
have
it
the,
happen
once we
before?
have probably conceptual design, even, I
After
would,
conceptual,
I would
at
even
least
say,
is selected.
yeah,
Okay.
where it's not gonna change much anymore.
Yeah, if we
Where-
changed
where
it
the
by
square
like,
footage is set.
5 to 7% would be deemed okay, but if all of a sudden we're up, 15, 20% on the overall building size, they're gonna probably call you back to the table and say, this isn't where we expected you to go. Okay.
Anybody from Tecton want to weigh in here? Just because you've had experience with this, I would assume. Or Gilbane. Hi, Nick. Nick Conti is online as well. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. I guess my question, Mark, just for your analysis, you're using the 2026 base reimbursement rates for special legislation?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so that's one question. And then I guess one thing on the space waiver, just what we've seen, and at least in our experience, has been that when it's written as a piece of special legislation, they'll write in the total project cost of the project, and then they'll basically waive the square foot requirements for allowable areas. So the way that they basically protect themselves is by identifying the total project cost for the project. So you could go and build a 200,000 square foot building, but they're only gonna basically reimburse you based on that total project cost. So that's this last round of
Gotcha.
special legislation. Most of the projects had the total project cost identified in
That makes more sense to me.
well, one
There's no
other,
way the state's just gonna be like, oh.
yeah, and one other piece on that is as we move forward, as soon as a project manager from OGA is identified, there's a design review conference, I believe. I don't know if I have the
Just
terminology correct.
design conference. Yeah.
Design conference. So there's a design conference, which is a new meeting or conference that has a 10-page kind of agenda. And one of the questions they're going to ask is, do you or do you not meet the allowable area? And do you have a space waiver? Because we just went through this last week with one of the project managers. So long story short is if you are going to pursue the special legislation, obviously this session's finished. You're going to have to get it in the next session, but it would ideally be before the PCR.
Project cost, I'm sorry.
Sorry, the
Pre-bid
Completion review, sorry, all acronyms need to be.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the final.
It's
final
plan
review.
completion review.
Yeah, the review by
And
the
completion
Thanks,
of the
Al.
project. Gotcha. You know, that one word made a big difference, actually. Plan completion versus project completion. That's two very different.
yes.
That's good to hear.
Though
Okay.
though it is a planned completion review, the form is actually, and the title of the meeting is actually pre-bid conformance review. So
Wow.
it's OGA's last check to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before Nick's authorized to go out and get hard bids.
Okay.
Whose job is it to make all the terms fancier? I would like that job, please.
That's part of the legislation that sets up OGA is to change acronyms monthly or bi-monthly.
Right?
And it used to be worse. It used to change inside the meeting that you had, but they're
I
slacking
think
off.
biophilia is the one that really got me started. So you mean outdoorsy? We're now okay, got it. Outdoorsy.
Oh my gosh. Rosie.
What?
Literally just realized.
You just realized the dog's in my lap this whole time? For anyone who's wondering
He has
what's
a mini
going on
dog.
here, I have a very small dog with me. And Lauren's been sitting directly across the room from me the whole time and did not realize Rosie's been in my lap because I'm dog sitting.
Rosie frequently joins her at church too.
Yes, she does.
Oh, the
Okay.
one time I'm not there in person. Can Rosie come back? That's my question.
She's gonna hold her up to
This is Rosie, everyone. This is my dad's girlfriend's dog. Say hi, Rosie. You're now
Oh
famous.
my God, she's so cute.
She's 3.5 pounds.
Oh, that's
So, and she's my dad's girlfriend's, she calls her an emotional support dog. So she's not used to being left alone or not in someone's arms. So when I leave her alone for 1 hour for a PTA meeting that turned into 2,
freaks out.
she freaks out. So I was like, I'm just going to bring her because I know I could bring her.
What a good dog. My
Yeah,
dog
she
would
just-
never be able to endure this.
She just chills.
So
She's
what are
so well behaved.
Yeah, that's why I can bring her places. And she's hypoallergenic.
So-
Also why I can bring her
Thank you.
places.
This is a levity we need
Yes.
just to break up all of
Break it all
this.
up.
I
I can't believe you just.
I'm sorry. It just freaked me out. I was like, wait. You're doing something.
Wait till we talk colors.
Okay.
All right.
Back,
All right,
back
back
track.
to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie.
This is what we're presenting tonight. This is
So
basically.
what you sent to us.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll stick to that. But for everybody to understand the
But to
background
understand-
on it, I appreciate
Correct.
the full.
To understand the numbers behind this.
Could
we
you
wanna
show?
go through
Could you
them.
just show timeline as you've got? And I know we've all seen the macro schedule. But we're going to also present this to the Board of Finance because they were given a very different schedule back in September. Again, according to the Spigel's report, which had a 9-month design phase, which even they agreed seemed a bit unrealistic. So this is where we are now. I just want everybody to see. We're still projected for a fall 2029 move-in date. Anything before that would be a bonus or a cherry on top, but that is, the goal is to do this well and on this timeline. Yes, Jeff?
Oh, I exploded the people on the bar of people, sorry. And you're looking at my directory now. So yeah, just the red bar is the current status, and it's middle of May. Down here is the CM, and we're just marching along in design.
And so, just according to one of the emails that I saw today, we're talking about, I just want to confirm with Tecton, we're talking about a schematic design by end of July?
Yep.
Okay. Is that, yeah, Justin's nodding, Jeff's nodding, okay. Just trying to confirm.
That is so exciting.
It is
Just wanna
really
throw that
exciting,
out
guys.
there.
We're thrilled to get this going. Obviously, I'm thrilled to kind of hand it off so that you can sort of run with it, and then we can support you as a building committee and oversee everything. But this is really, I don't know, this is where we need to be right now. And I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we all thought that it would be a different timeline. I'm just thrilled that we're here right now. Very happy. Okay, so that covers agenda item number 6. I'm gonna ask Mark to actually take the next one for just to lead open board discussion. Yes, this is for members of our board exclusively, so if anybody has any questions, that's fine, but we have an exciting new schedule, I think, for the working group that might break up our schedule a
Well,
bit.
it's not working groups, it's design coordination meetings.
Sorry, another fancy.
Oh, you mean the DCMs? Got it.
Yes.
DCMs, sure. Okay, guys, we're gonna do those next.
Well, we've been going weekly through
Rosie lowers my blood pressure.
through CM selection. Now that they're on board, probably want to go to every other week and start doing these design coordination meetings, basically in the same time slot on Tuesdays.
In the same room? Is that what you're trying to, because I
or
just need to
virtually.
coordinate with the town.
It'll
You want to
need
do
be virtual.
virtually?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, it'll be virtually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, if we're meeting here in person, I don't know about anybody else, but during the summertime hours, I didn't know if we wanted to go or could
So
go.
this is not for us, the committee, this is for
Yeah.
them, and I think we're invited, as long as
Oh,
we're not a
okay,
quorum.
Yep, as long as we don't get 3 members and don't have a quorum, members are invited.
So this was sort of like in the beginning,
Yep.
the first, the 3 of us went to the,
So we'll do every other week here
Off
at
week.
for the
2.
building committee.
And then those off weeks will be virtual too. Cool.
And these coordination meetings, basically, tack down, Gilbane, myself, FPS, and then depending on the meeting, other invited guests. Members of the building committee are always
I
invited.
will ask then, is there any, I know we talked about this like way in the past, and I really think that, I'm not gonna make this dependent on mine and your schedule, because that would be very unfair, but I do wanna make it dependent on, I feel like Tecton in particular, I don't know where Nick resides, people who have to drive further, summertime's great. If anybody wants to do it earlier in the day, like now's the time to discuss if we wanna change the time.
Well,
So it's actually not.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, because we voted it
Yeah.
through back when we
Oh, yeah.
first
I thought we
started.
voted it through end of June for some reason. I'm
Wait,
just
but then
saying.
but then they wanted us to finish out the rest of the year. So
Oh.
then back in, I think it's December, I had to finish out the rest of the year.
Okay.
And
Listen,
then
it is what it is.
through
It's
that.
a,
I'm not opposed, I'm just saying I would need to know if I need to undo something.
I was just throwing it out there for the people that have to travel on summer days and,
Believe me,
you know,
I would prefer, I think
I prefer
Oh,
getting
yes,
all my,
yes.
yeah.
I could ask. Okay,
Well, first, would it matter?
You would have to talk to the town clerk. It's, my understanding is if you had to reschedule, if you
Change
change
the
your
time.
schedule, you could do it, but there's steps that you would need to go through.
Well, I think step one would just be, is this even feasible? Am I the only one bringing this up? We had
And-
talked about it earlier, but, yeah, Peggy?
I mean, you always, you can, if you don't mind me jumping in, you could always cancel the meeting and then call a special meeting. It could be the same day at a different time. I mean.
I just
procedurally.
remember earlier in the year, we talked about summertime hours, maybe doing it earlier in the day so people could get home and enjoy their afternoons. So I'm just tossing it
I
back out.
appreciate
didn't
that.
come up, I just, I believe, because I remember it ended in June, and then they wanted us to vote it through for the whole year. And so I believe we did that. Let me do a little bit of digging, I'm not opposed, but I think because we've already adjusted it once, I think with Colliers, and then we've got kind of a set time
Yeah.
with Tecton, I I'd have to throw it out to everybody to make sure that,
Yeah, we did already do 1 o'clock and then we adjusted to 2 o'clock for Colliers.
Correct.
and that still stands as good for your, yeah.
Are you going to be canceling the meetings as they come up, or are you just gonna go to every other week?
I think I'm gonna have to cancel it through the town, so it'll look like on the town calendar, DBC meetings are canceled like every other week. But I can, basically, when you hear from me and you get an addenda, that means we're meeting on
But I
Tuesday.
think what Peggy's trying to figure out is her own personal schedule. So at what day would we start going to every other week being a mandatory meeting? And when would we strike back up? And then we would give the, a runway to when we would be going back to regular weekly meetings, which would probably be after the conceptual is.
When were you thinking, because I'm just now processing all of this, as I got the email today, and which I'm very excited about, that's why I called you.
I mean, we could start, well, next week could be a design coordination meeting, and then 2 weeks have a committee meeting.
Okay,
Basically
so we could
start
basically
today.
start it today to every other, and then from your perspective or Tecton's perspective, at what point or do we ever need to go back to weekly?
It's up to the committee to decide.
That's up
Yeah.
right?
When you decide to.
Okay.
It's, every week seems very quick.
Okay.
I mean, HVAC goes every other week, and
It's an HVAC project.
even Mill Hill and Holland Hill, we were going every
Every 2 weeks,
well,
okay.
No, we were going first and third Thursday, or second and fourth Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thursday.
And
it was
truthfully, they canceled many of them in between that they ended up going monthly.
Okay. But that was also over COVID.
No,
no,
no, it was just the way Tom Quinn kind of.
Believe
Organized
me, I'm
things.
all for less meetings, making it more convenient. I still like this hybrid approach. I think over the summer hours, hopefully that will provide some flexibility. But knowing that we've already voted through the meetings, the days and the times, I think this is at least a little bit of give for us. It's taking it to bi-weekly for now. And then if we want to go back to weekly, we
If
can.
you're slipping on dates, or if there's a lot of stuff to discuss, then
Yeah.
another meeting.
Or if at some point in time, 3 or more of the committee members say, I absolutely cannot make it Tuesdays at 2, that would be another consideration for me to shift everything. But then we'd have to kind of go back to the drawing board and make sure now that we've got our partners with us, Gilbane, Tecton, and Colliers, that works for their schedules as well. So,
maybe go through the summer, go
Yes.
through, do every other through the summer. That way people can set schedules, and then we can visit it.
in the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next week, no meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
And it
my
will
calendar that way.
it'll be an announcement. I will, for this one, I'll go ahead and send it out to the full committee, my full email list, so that everybody sees that next week is canceled as a building committee meeting. But understanding that there will be this, I'm sorry, what are we calling it again?
Design coordination meeting.
DCM.
What do you want?
See, I brought in my fancy little, working group flyer that Tecton had distributed
You
to
want me to
us.
think of new fun? You want me to think of funner words than that?
Okay, so guys, I think that's a pretty exciting announcement. I'm sorry it's not a full shift at this point, but I think it's still better than weekly. And I'm all for, hopefully you are, outside the kids are running through a sprinkler and
Yeah.
I am.
I just bought them a new inflatable pool with a little tunnel, and that goes at the bottom of their slide, and they can't drown, and I don't have to look at them then.
Oh, I remember those days, only I did
This is
it.
why I don't go over friends' houses with pools. I'm like, then I have to pay attention to them. I don't have to pay attention to my kids in my yard. It's fully secure.
Yeah, I get it,
Yeah.
I get it. I went through that for about 8 years in Brooklyn on a slab of concrete in my backyard. And they kept popping the pool. Okay, so does anybody else from the committee have any questions, any concerns, anything that they would like to talk about at this time? I didn't list it and I'm embarrassed, but I'd like to open it to public comment if anybody has any at this time. Unless anybody from the committee, no, first? Okay. Guys, this is really helpful. I'm looking forward to the think tank. So we will not be meeting, one last announcement, we will not be meeting next Tuesday. I will issue that cancellation. I look forward to tonight, the Board of Finance meeting. We'll be there to present. And then the think tank on the 28th at 10 a.m. Again, we can't have a quorum, but if you are interested, any members of the committee who want to go, right now I'm anticipating going, and I assume Nicole, since you're doing all the RSVPs for everything, but please reach out to me individually and I'll see if I can coordinate for anyone else who wants to join.
I think as long as everybody's quiet, you can always just come in as a member of the public, right?
It's not debating. We have to clarify that. I think we can have more as long as we don't discuss it, the project. So if we're sitting back.
That's always the way we've understood it.
Is that true? Yeah.
Okay. As long as we don't discuss.
So, like,
We're
observing-
doing nothing but discussing the project. You mean amongst ourselves?
Yeah, we can't be debating and discussing things
Okay.
In those
in
meetings.
those meetings.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's mainly an informational, you could sit back and listen, do it from your desk, but write down all your questions and hold them till the following week. Does that make sense? Or am I wrong on that?
Right.
Okay. All right, you guys, thank you again, Tecton, Colliers, and Gilbane for joining us today. I'm going to call the meeting adjourned at 3 p.m.
One last time for Antonia. There you go, Antonia.